Okay, greetings and welcome to Chapter 8, Problem 19. Again, as always, if you hear any barks, growls, whimpering, whatever, it's okay. That's just my pups. So let's get started here. We're going to be dealing with a tax custodial fund. The Sun County collects all property taxes for these right here, and that um, Sun County gets 2% of the receipts for the other entities. Okay, so let's start off here with our first one. The current tax year levies to be collected by the fund is going to be taxes receivable for other funds and governments. And that is current. Okay, so that's the taxes receivable current. Now the county general fund, that's going to, well, let's start off with the 23,951. That's the amount that we levied, right? And it tells us right there. So the total of that is 23,951, 500. Okay. And then we're going to have due to other funds. Okay. And that's going to be the amount right here for the county general fund. That's how much is due to the general fund. Let me see here. Okay. And then we have additions. Property tax collection. Okay, property tax collections for other governments. Okay, so now what number goes here for the other governments? Well, we have the Bayshore and the consolidated school district here. So it's going to be the total of those two, right? Because it's other governments, and those are the other governments. This was the general fund, and then these we're going to pay out. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 5508845 plus 10,78175. And I hit the wrong button somewhere because that's not right. Let's try this again. We're going to add actually, why don't we actually show the calculations, and that way you guys won't be confused. Okay, so this is Bayshore. And Bayshore is 5508845. And then we have the school district. And that one was 10,778,175. So we add those two together, and it should come up to 16,287.20. Okay, so that's that. And then this is the one going to and then it's going to other governments. Okay. During the year 20,358 of the current year's taxes was collected. So we got the money. So we're going to hit cash. Why did we get the money? Taxes. Why don't we see if we can copy it right from here down? Okay, so the cash we received, it tells us right here, 23,581,223, and that would be the same for here, 23,581. Okay, does that make sense? We got the cash. We're going to credit our taxes receivable because that's decreasing. This is what we started off with. This is what we're going to put against that because we received that money. Okay. Now here, it gets a bit more complicated, okay, because we have to calculate the 2% administrative fee. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I should have deleted those out, but it's okay. So for the school district, we are going to take 2% of the taxes collected. Okay, so we're going to take all right, so we want this to be a negative number because we're taking it out of that. So 9161100 times 0.02, and it gives us 183,220. And since that's a negative number, when we combine them, okay, that's how much we're actually going to pay to the school district. We come up here, we do the same thing for Bayshore. We take the taxes collected and we multiply it by the 2%. and then we add those two together. So it's going to offset these two right here because that's what we're going to get here. So we're going to have a plus, we know it's going to be a positive. So 27687 9. No, yes, 9. Okay. So if we check these here, okay, these two are going to equal that. Now we're going to take this and deduct it from that. And then up here, we're going to take this and add what we were getting. Okay, now let's go back here and actually see how we got these numbers, okay? So it tells us how much each entity levied these amounts. So the 7,664,480, you can go up to the first one, and it says 7,664,480. Okay. So we take what we levied for each of these, we divide it by our taxes receivable for other funds and governments. Okay. And that gives us a percentage, which we will then multiply by the amount we actually collected, which is 20,358. Okay. So we divide this, which percentage is it? Multiply it by that, and that's how we get the 65,14560. Okay. So let's just calculate it to make sure that is right. So I'm going to take 7,664,480, and I'm going to divide it by 23,951,500, and I get 32%. So 32% of the 2358, right? 2358 there. So now if I multiply these, we're going to get the amount of cash for the county. Okay, I said Bayshore, but I guess I did. I did the county. So that's how much we collected, and then we add our fee, and this is how much of that 20,000 we're going to get. And then we do the same thing down here. We take the 55,088.45, divide it by the tax levy, and then multiply it by the cash collected, and that tells us that. We multiply this by the 2%. We're going to deduct that from there, so we're actually going to get 4,588,693. Okay, hope you guys are getting the hang of this. I know this is a little clunky, but so again, 10. Well, let's do it again here. So 10,778,175 divided by the 23,951. 1, 2, 3. And I didn't put the right numbers in, did I? So 10, 7, 7, 8, 1, 7, 5 divided by 23,951, 500. So that's 45%. I don't know what it's doing in there. There you go. That's the 45% that we're looking for. And then we're going to take that 45% that we got from dividing our levy by the collections, or by this is the levy, so we take that individual tax levy and then multiply it by the total levy, and then we multiply it by the cash we collected. So if we leave that there, and again, that's just multiplying the 45% times that, it is 9161 100. And again, if we take 2% of that, we will get our fee, which is right there. Okay? So I hope you guys get these calculations okay. That would be Stacy, and she wants my attention for something. So all the cash in the custodial fund was distributed. So we are going to okay, so now we have the fee that we're going to get, right? So we're going to call it deductions admin fee. Okay. And we are going to debit that for how much? Well, how much are we getting? The 276,879. So in here we're going to put the, where did I go here? The 276,879. Right, 276,879. Okay. And then we're going to credit due to other funds, which is the same number, 276,879. Okay, so we calculated the percent, and then we multiplied that percent times our collections, and that gave us our taxes collected. Okay, and then for these two down here, we took 2% of that, and that's what we got. And that's a negative number because it's coming out of their taxes collected, and it's going to the county that collected the taxes. So you take the taxes collected minus the fee, and that's how much you actually get. And then the same thing goes with that. I hope that's clear. Number 4, all cash in the tax custodial fund was distributed. Okay. So we're going to have due to other funds of 6791439. And then deduction I apologize for that. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Okay, so here we're going to have, let me finish writing this in. Deductions, payments of property taxes to other governments. And that's actually a debit, sorry about that. And the amount that's going to go in here is the 13,566,571, which is the total of these two right here. Okay, let me see here if I can. So it's those ones right there. Okay, so we combine those two, and then that flows down to right there. Okay, total those, and then for here we're just going to total those two, and it gets to the 2358, which is the amount we collected. So the 67 is going down here to do the other funds. That's staying here. And then these payments right here, they're payments of property taxes to other governments. So that 13 is going to go to them. And the total is cash. So they're getting their money. Those two are getting their money. And then we credit cash for the total amount. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Necessary closing entries. What you're gonna have to do is just go back and look at the non-permanent accounts and write them, close out the accounts. So we're gonna have addition property tax collection for that was for 16,287,020. Okay. And then we're going to have the deductions. Okay, so deduction, we know what that's going to be, right? That is the 276,869. And then the next one is deduction payments of property taxes to other governments. So I'm going to just steal that. And that's going to be right here. So we're going to offset that with the 13,566,571. And then the rest of it is going to go into our net position, restricted, for other governments. And that would be the 244,3,580. Okay, and we would calculate that basically by taking that and subtracting these numbers here. It should equal that. Okay, do we have any questions or anything? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. So again, the closing entries, aren't a huge deal. Like I said, you just have to look at the accounts that are left, and then we net them to the 243,850. Okay, so we know where these numbers come from. This number right here, the 16,287, I don't know what I did here, but I miscalculated. This doesn't make it balance. So what I'm going to do is take that minus this, and now we have the correct balance, 16,287.20. All right, so make sure you fix that. Sorry about that, I just noticed it. And then that's where that goes, is right there. We close it there. Now we're going to have to make the journal entries for the county general fund. So let's do some more journal entries because they are so much fun, right? So the ones that would affect the general fund would be the taxes receivable, and this is current. And then we have our estimated uncollectible taxes. And then we'll have revenues. Okay, so our taxes receivable comes from right here. Okay. So that's 766,480, which again comes right from the chart they gave us. So we come back down here and we put that in as 766,480. And then here we're going to take 1% of this. Remember, right there it says assuming 1% of the gross will be uncollectible. So 1% of that is going to be uncollectible. So how much is going to be our revenues? We're going to take that and we're going to subtract that, and that gives us our revenues. Okay. And then we're going to do the next one where we collected the cash. We got taxes, receivable, and that would be the current. And then revenues, revenue, collection fees. Okay. So now we're going to, where do the numbers for these come from? Our total cash that we collected was right here. Our part of the taxes we collected plus the fees we charged them. So that is the so we have, that's our 6791429, and then our taxes receivable is this number right here, because that's how much we actually collected. So that collected of taxes is 6,514,560. And the other one, remember the collection fees that we calculated up here, 276,879. Bingo bango, there it goes. So that's gonna be the 276,869. Okay. Make sure I got those right. 67,91,429, 6,514,560, and then that. Okay, so this is our deduction of taxes receivable current. We have revenue of the 2% that we collected. So that means we paid out that much. Okay, and then it says make journal entries for each of the foregoing entries affected the town of Bayshore tax levy entry, assuming 1% will be a loss. And I forgot to mention, this has to do with our first journal entry, and this one is related to our fourth entry. And now for part C, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to have 1 and 4. So what happened here, we're going to have our taxes current didn't look right for some reason. Our taxes receivable. So again, we go up to our first entry, and that's got the 7. Okay, sorry about that. Taxes receivable current. Again, we're going to get that from this chart right here, 5508,845. So we're going to come back down here, and we're going to debit that for 766,480. And then we are going to, what am I doing here? It's the 5508,845. And then we're going to take 1% of that number right there, and we get the 55,088, and that is going to be called estimated uncollectible current taxes. Taxes receivable current, and then this is the estimated uncollectible taxes. So that's the amount we anticipate we're not going to collect. Of course, we want to collect the whole thing, but this is what we are estimating we're not going to collect. Okay. And then for the last one is revenues. And we get that by taking the total levy minus our uncollectible, gives us revenues of 54. Okay. And then the last one has to do with again around entry 4. So we want okay, here we go for the last entry. We're going to get cash. We're going to have an expenditure. For the collection fees. And then we're going to reduce our receivable all right. So the 45,88,693, which is right here, and how do we get that number? And that is this number right here. This is the actual amount that Bayshore is going to get. Okay, and then we're going to deduct their collection fees, which was 93,647. So we go 93,647, and then our taxes receivable is credited for those amounts. Okay, any questions? Just shoot me an email or text. Hopefully this was clear enough. I know it was kind of choppy. I apologize for that, and I apologize for the dogs, but we got through it and we got it done, and we're gonna keep going. All right. Talk to you later.